my first question comes from Daryl. If I am in a slip, trip, or fall accident, what should I do next as far as finding out whether I have a legal claim? All right, Harry, will you answer his question? We'll
Sure. Well, Daryl, if you happen to have that situation, let me just say, the first thing you want to, hopefully it won't be too severe, but, a lot of people do have severe injuries from slips and from trips and so forth. You'd be surprised at how injured you can get, even just from slipping on some water in a store or just any kind of liquid. But, you want to make sure you're okay, first of all. But with respect to a claim, you certainly want to talk to the management, and you want to make sure that a written incident report is taken. That will have a lot of the information about what happened, the date, the time. And you should also try to get any witness information if possible. A lot of the stores, I've come across, they don't always try to get witness information, especially if it's not in their favor. A lot of times, people will disperse. They'll say, well, we'll take it from here. If you're able to, and you're not hurt enough, and you can get that information, I would certainly do so. And nowadays we all have cell phones. If you think about it, I would try to get some kind of photograph, some kind of documentation if you're able to. I know a lot of times people fall and they say, look, that was the last thing I was thinking about. I was in so much pain. But if you can think about doing these things, getting that incident report filled out, getting witness information, trying to get some photographs, you want to be able to at least document all the information you can. And of course, you want to seek treatment right away. You want to make sure that physically, you're taken care of.
And you mentioned a few things that come to mind in there. Management. Sometimes it's just not easy to, especially if you've fallen and you're able to get up and you walk over to management, but you're saying to document and talk to them. How would you suggest someone approach management about getting information that may support a case later on down the road? And another thing that comes to mind, management that say, oh, he's fine because, this person was standing. We watched him walk out of the store. Is that factor anything? Okay.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. But management, they have certain training procedures and certain procedures for whenever anyone's injured on the property, considering risk management, they're going to make a report of it. Now, they don't necessarily have to give you a copy of that report, but what they normally do is they will at least fill out the information, give you a chance to either look at it. Either you can fill in a certain part, or sometimes they'll fill it in, but you get to read it, and then you sign and date it to acknowledge that it was accurate. But there are policies and procedures that they are to follow and that they should follow, and I don't see them refusing to do an incident report if you ask for one. But certainly, you can't make them. But if you have the other documentation you have the witness name, or you have photographs. If they don't make the report, and then you go to the doctor, you're still able to make the claim because of all the other things you have to show what had happened.
Rocky, what would you say to someone who may be embarrassed? Because a lot of times people fall and you don't want anybody to see you, so you just jump up and kind of play it cool and walk off. Is that something you suggest?
No, not at all, because, we all want to be tough, and nobody wants to go through the problem or the process of making a claim and going all the way to the doctor and paying that emergency room bill and the ambulance bill. But I've seen it time and again, and Harry's handled a lot of these cases. I've handled some of these cases where, somebody slips and falls, they're hurt, but they don't want to stop and take the time to tell management. And then in the next few days or weeks, they, now their back starts hurting. They've got pain radiating down to their arm. Now they got a slip disc. Well, they don't have a record of it happening. And if they didn't, if there's not a video, and if the video is not preserved immediately, then you may have a hard time proving the incident even happened. Okay. And so I think if you are injured in a store, you should make a claim so there is a documented record of what happened. Now, just because they document it doesn't mean that A, it's going to be the truth, or B, it's going to help your case later, but it will help you prove that it happened. And that is important in some of these cases where people do leave the store before they talk to a lawyer, and a lawyer can start taking the right steps. But making a claim is probably the first step. And then once you get a lawyer sending what's called a preservation or spoliation letter to the business to make them preserve any video or surveillance tapes of the incident and the time before the incident. It seems like, Harry, in every case, that we have like this, that the video, the $1 million video, the $64 million video always seems to just cut off right before the part that we might need, or start just a little later than we want, or maybe not have the right angles.
It seems like if the video's in favor of the business, it's always preserved. If it's in favor of the client, it's a bad angle. We had a dummy camera, it wasn't functioning. Yeah. It's grainy, you can't really tell. But you made a good point. I had a case recently, Rocky, against a fast food restaurant, and they denied that it even happened. But the way that we were able to to push the case forward is we were lucky enough to have 2 independent customers that left their name and number with our guy, who, of course, when we filed the suit, we took their deposition, and they said, oh yeah, it did happen. And they verified the date, the time, what happened. So you're absolutely right. I mean, if there's no documentation, you could be out of luck. So you got to get what you can get.